Yo, what's happening, world? Name's Raheem Flowers, and honestly, I had a really deep, profound conversation with somebody that I met earlier this year, and she just broke down crying, and she was just talking about how when somebody, like, I think to myself, when people do things that are silly, that's when everybody wants to hop on board. And she even said that she went viral on a video, but she said that she was speaking some real shit and how we need to move like Malcolm X, and people deleted her videos. Well, see, for me, I never particularly got a video deleted, but it got so serious with me that I can't even monetize off my videos because of the shit that I said that are so offensive, quote unquote, because of the things that I've said about the Jewels, the things that I've said about black women, the things that I've said about black men. I talk about everybody. And me saying that, talking about everybody, is about to go into the focal point of this video that I'm making. It's about being balanced. It's about being objective, and we don't do that enough. We clearly didn't do that with R. Kelly and his sex cult that's even going on in this decade. We didn't do that with Drake when he decided to put on blackface and he got caught and exposed for that. And the people on his staff doing damage control for his ass. I mean, Drake even based Scorpion off of whatever Pusha T said. He put little sprinkles in it because Pusha got to him that bad. In addition to that, I think about how even in the black community, like, we sit here and we talk about, we praise all the things that us as melanated people have done throughout history, but then we sidestep all the misfortunes, the shortcomings, the lack of foresight, the negligence that go on in the community, and how even things like mental illness is mocked and frowned upon, downplayed, trivialized, all that shit. Now, see, I don't look for people to be perfect, but I look for people to be consistent in what they say and what they do, just like I said in my previous video. And there's not enough of that going on in the world, period. I mean, I was watching a video from Chronicles of Judah when he was talking about that young man, I think his name was Lorenzo, that died in the Bronx. And he was talking about how, quote unquote black people, quote unquote Hispanic community, quote unquote black community, like, the thing that goes on is how we celebrate the dead more than we celebrate the living. Because when Malcolm was alive, a lot of black people weren't behind him, especially when he disbanded from the nation. For real. Nobody gave a fuck about Steez when he died until he committed suicide. Everybody was putting so much emphasis and attention on Joey Badass, but really and truly, Steez was the one who laid the foundations down for pro-era. And even Joey will tell you something like this. Even when you think about X died. Everybody was calling him this woman beater and all this shit, and people couldn't say him rest in peace. Now we're the same people who were extraditing this young man. Now, I was harshly critical of him, but not just because of those things. Just how he moved in general. I mean, my thing is this. If you're going to say something about somebody, like, don't be the type of individual who can only point out everything that's wrong with you. Be able to acknowledge the merits of that individual. That shit goes on way too much, though, in society. We love to put so much emphasis on people's flaws, but when you see somebody actually doing quote unquote right in the world, everybody's just like, oh, well, that's what you're supposed to do. And even though that may be true, it's like, why won't you see this person just for being what they are and who they are, which is human? And I say this as a reminder to myself too, because I'm very harshly critical. I have my perfectionist tendencies. But I can recognize my pros as well as I do my cons, you know? That's the fundamental difference. That's my thing. My gripe is that there's just too much cognitive dissonance. So it's to the point where people only want to praise you and deify the fuck out of you, or people want to paint you and villainize you. Like, most people just can't simply see you as just a human being that you are. Like, you have admirable qualities, and you have things that you need to work on, and you have things that are driving people away, or you have things that are making it harder for you to establish relationships and friendships with one another, you know? Yep. And what prompted me to even make this video was when I saw Rhymefest, when he was referring to one of Kanye's rhymes in The Life of Pop Will called Father Stretch My Hands. And he was talking about humanity versus vanity. And I know for a fact that personality worshiping is a humongous factor, and it correlates to what I'm saying right now. I mean, I think about how people live in this false reality, and when they create these AVIs, they go around trolling, they go around making a name for themselves, and then you ask, is this who you are? Or are you just that insecure in yourself where you tried to, I can't even say that you reinvented yourself. You tried to erase who you are out of history just because you hate to see what's in the mirror that much. Yep. You see people becoming famous off of YouTube. You see how these broads out here go quote unquote Instagram models, and they do all these bookings because, let's be real, if you didn't have these outlets, you wouldn't be shit. Nobody would care about you, and you know that you thrive off of attention. This influx of simping has messed up the dynamic between men and women. The misuse of social media, because social media itself is not inherently good or evil, just like anything, that neither is anything in this world, really and truly. But unfortunately, people do not know nor understand history, and they tend to repeat it. All forms of media have always been misused and abused way before technology was implemented throughout society. Because let's be real, the government been holding this shit in since the 1950s. When they were on their, when they were on some other shit in the military, man. But you know, just like, and speaking of the government, just like how they have these sex robots going on out here in Japan, you know that women are going to be replaced. They see how much that men have put, how much value men put on pussy, and when they see that, the powers that be are gonna economize, and they're going to exploit that aspect of man. Like, even outside of the productivity, because a man in this world is not really a man if he doesn't work. You know, that's the type of leeway we don't get, that type of leeway that women get. Like, women can live off of a man. A man can't live off of a woman very long. And if a man does live off of a woman, he's not even a man anymore. And that's things that people need to take a look at and consider. You know? So, I mean, they're making it to where men are gradually becoming lazier. Not even just physically, but even like pursuing things sexually, pursuing things intellectually, you know? Doing research is important. Reading books. That's why I attend the library, man. Out here in Chicago. One of the most prestigious libraries in Chicago. Harold Washington Library. And, you know, we need to communicate with each other more effectively. And I say this for myself too. So, Me saying that we need to recognize the pros and the cons about each other. We can't sidestep things that are fucked up about us, but nor should we sidestep whenever accomplishments are made. Because if there was any form of positive reinforcement and people became more spiritually inclined to synergizing with one another, we'd be living in a better world. So I'm gonna end it off on that note. Peace out, everybody, and one love.